Dr. Phil.
You didn't do anything to hurt your daughter?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is there anybody that comes to mind that might have seen Summer or targeted her in some way?
The disappearance of Summer Wells.
What do you think happened?
I have no idea what happened.
What do her parents know?
You took your daughter in the house and you never saw her come out.
She just was gone.
But she didn't just vaporize. Someone had to take her out of that house.
In her mind, she's being interrogated.
That's not interrogating you. We're trying to help you find your daughter. Yesterday, we spent an entire hour trying to get to the bottom of what happened to 5-year-old Summer Wells, who went missing from her rural Tennessee home on June 15th, 2021, around dinner time. Now, her mother watched her go into the house to join her brothers and then just never saw her again. Deception detection and body language expert Scott Rouse and Greg Hartley interviewed Don and Candace Wells and examined their demeanor to get some answers. Here's what's happened so far.
Breaking news, an Amber Alert now issued by the TBI for a missing 5-year-old girl. The search continues for Summer Wells from Rogersville.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said the search for Summer is, quote, definitely outside the norm.
Despite doing everything within our power, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear.
June 15th, 2021, it was just a normal day. I called my wife, and she was getting her mother's prescription, so I decided just to go ahead and work late.
We just finished planting flowers, and then Summer, she has to go back in the house with the boys. I fixed my mom's knee brace, and I told my mom that I have to go back in with the kids. After I came into the house, I asked the boys where she was, and they said that she went downstairs to play in the playroom. And I come into the playroom, she wasn't here at all. About
5:30 p.m., my wife Candace called and said she couldn't find Summer. I said, well, hang up for me and call 911. So I threw my tools in the car, got in there, and started down the road and called 911 myself. I pulled down here. I noticed my 3 boys are together, and my heart sunk because I knew she was abducted.
Candace and Don sat down with body language experts Scott Rouse and Greg Hartley. Now, Scott and Greg are interrogators. Together, they have been called a human lie detector.
Is there anything about Candace's story that makes you question the story?
No, not the way it played out and everything like that. I mean, yeah, you always have questions. I mean, I don't really have any. I mean, I don't really have any questions.
He was stammering, stuttering all over the place. What'd you make of that?
I think he edits, he speaks, he edits, he speaks, and never finishes a sentence.
We were under the impression he was holding back little information.
Okay, then this is important to me because we're trying to find this little girl. I don't care about anything else. It's very clear to me that he is editing. That means he's holding something back.
Exactly.
So the question is, what's he know that he's not telling us, right?
And that's the reason we wanted this second interview with your team, is because we could get to more information. Did you do anything to Summer?
No.
What do you think should happen to somebody that did this?
They should be put away for the rest of their lives. I mean, they should be tormented, I think.
If I ask you what happened to Jordan, he was missing. It wouldn't be a pause there.
It wouldn't take me 5 seconds to think about it. Give me 10 seconds in a room alone with him, and we'll be through. We haven't seen a lot of tears from her, but then you ask about the Cornbread Mafia, which is a organized grassroots crime syndicate in Tennessee, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What about those fellows that live around there in the Cornbread Mafia?
Cornbread Mafia.
That's what we call them where we live. I don't know if this.
I have no idea. I've heard about some hillbilly mafia type stuff and everything, you know. And
she is feeling emotion here that we didn't see any other place in the story. So this feels.
We don't know what it is.
That's
right.
It
could be fear.
That's right.
It could be guilt.
We can't read minds. We read symptoms, but those are pretty clear.
On June 15th, little 5-year-old Summer went missing from her family home. Her parents, Don and Candace, say they thought they were doing the right thing by going online, requesting the public's help to find their little girl. But Don says it all backfired. They became targets of online bullies.
when Summer came out missing, I thought the best thing I could do is turn to social media. So I put all her pictures out there on YouTube, Facebook, and everything I could, hoping that social media could help us find our daughter. And that's when the entire investigation got totally twisted around. I have 2 distant relatives that accused me of some horrific things that were definitely not true. They called TBI the second day after Summer's disappearance and told them that I'd done a horrific thing to my daughter and killed her. They put it out there on YouTube. After all these lies were spread all over social media, I started getting messages, tell them where your daughter is, let's get this over with. Just all kinds of hate stuff constantly. The worst part of all the social media lies is people were focused on us, and even the police focused on us. Instead of going out looking for Summer, they started looking at me and my family. And we lost about 75 days. As far as all those lies and stuff, none of that matters. We just want our baby home.
Well, first, let me say I'm glad to meet you both, but very sorry for the occasion. I wish we were talking about 1,000 other things than your missing daughter, Summer. Since you've last talked to Scott and Greg, have you learned anything at all? Anything new happened? Anything from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation? Anything that we don't know?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
First off, tell me about Summer. Candace, you're her mom. Tell me about Summer. What's she like? How did she spend her time mostly?
Playing with the toys.
Yeah. Did she like to play inside, outside?
She liked to be outside most of the time.
Yeah. You have the 3 boys, and then Summer, she was the youngest.
Yeah.
And how'd she get along with the boys?
She was boss of the boys.
She ran the ran the boys. Yeah. I kind of, in watching her run around, she sure had a lot of energy. Was she one that would wander off, chase a butterfly, do something where she would look up and realize she was further away than she thought she might be?
No.
She stuck close to the house?
She stuck close to the house.
Was she a daddy's girl or a mama's girl?
She was a daddy's girl.
Daddy's girl?
Yeah.
There were some vehicles that were seen around the property that day. A red truck, for example, was seen nearby. Did that person ever come forward and identify themselves?
Never did come forward as far as we know.
Do y'all know anybody with a red truck?
No.
You know, statistics tell us that when children are abducted or molested or in any way victimized, it's very seldom by strangers. It's a friend of the family, a family member. It's somebody that has access to the family. Do you have any idea, any concept of anybody that would have had knowledge of your property, how to get down that road, how to do anything that and I'm not asking you to name somebody here, but is there anybody that comes to mind that might have seen Summer or targeted her in some way?
Not that we know of. We've been thinking about that constantly, constantly. It's just trying to think.
Candace, is there anybody that made you uncomfortable, just the way they looked at her or were around her?
Nobody that I'm aware of.
I'm sorry?
Nobody that I'm aware of.
I've been involved in a lot of these investigations, and I've got some observations I want to share with you that I feel real strongly about. To make matters worse for Don and Candace, Child Protective Services removed their 3 sons from the house. That might be a bad thing. It might not be a bad thing given some of the hate that's been directed towards them. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Once Summer was taken, CPS had to open a case for our good and for the boys' protection. So CPS thought our house was dangerous. CPS took our boys. which I was glad at the time. I was glad that they were not here because I was scared to death for their lives.
And later, you didn't do anything to hurt your daughter.
No, sir.
You didn't do anything to hurt your daughter. Do you know something about it that you haven't shared?
Monday.
Oriana claims that her mother, Cornelia, would lock her in the attic for weeks. Did she lock you in the attic?
Yep. No, I locked her in a room. My mother is a liar.
Physical discipline.
I've been told that I treat my kids like I'm a drill instructor.
You poured a pitcher of water on her face.
Yes.
You didn't want to have kids.
No, I did not.
That's Monday. Then on Tuesday.
Sean is my soulmate.
Everything he's told you is a lie. This is a scumbag piece of trash that is stealing your money and breaking your heart.
I don't believe it.
That's Tuesday.
Authorities say on October 14th, Summer Wells' mom, Candace Bly, told officers Donald Wells came home drunk and saw someone else in the house and believed that Bly was cheating on him. Bly filed an order of protection. She says Wells drinks and throws things and that he was mentally and physically abusive.
She's apologized to me. She even talked to the judge and told him that she made a serious mistake.
The domestic assault charges and unlawful possession of a handgun were dismissed.
For Don and Candace, it was bad enough dealing with the stress of their 5-year-old daughter, Summer, disappearing 4 months ago from their rural Tennessee property. But to make matters worse, their sons, 13, 11, and 9 years old, were removed by Child Protective Services.
This is the hardest time of me and Candace's life. You lose your daughter, and then you get blamed for it, and then everybody turns on you. We had threatening phone calls daily. They threatened my job. They done everything they could to destroy our family. Had a stranger come up at 2 in the morning. Didn't know what he was doing there. I fired a shot over his head, and they ran down the driveway. I expected bullet holes to be coming through our house, so we had a lot of sleepless nights. It was taking a toll on me. At one point, I broke down. I lost it. I started drinking really bad, and I made some poor decisions. Once the summer was taken, CPS had to open a case for our good and for the boys' protection. So CPS thought our house was dangerous. I was being dangerous. The CPS took our boys, which I was glad at the time. I was glad that they were not here because I was scared to death for their lives. I agreed with them. My wife didn't, and she's mad at me. But it was just too dangerous. And now it's 3 months later, and there's no sign of our daughter, and we miss all our kids. We just miss them so much.
You want the boys back?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't want them to go to begin with.
Right.
You want them back now?
Yes.
Do you think it's safe for them to come back?
It's a lot safer than it was.
Yeah.
You haven't had any acts of violence against you at the house?
No.
Okay. So there's no reason in terms of acts of violence that have been perpetrated against you that would cause them to conclude that the boys would be in harm's way?
No, we just had one issue with a woman sent to our house.
Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, reopen, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. The pain makes it real, I don't wanna feel, I just wanna kill the bad thoughts and steal a good thought and feel. I'm just lost to feel, I'm just lost to feel. I need time to heal, I can't steer the wheel, cause this drive me kill, and it gives me chills. A nice road it feels, I slip off the peel and crash all the steel. Will I ever heal? I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go.
House, and we don't know. We've heard she was sent from some YouTubers. We don't know. Well, we called the police right away, and they took her off the property.
If they did a home study right now, they came in and studied the home, would it meet the standard that they were looking for? Would the house be clean and uncluttered and groceries and safe as far as guns and everything that Child Protective Services investigates? Would it be proper for the boys?
Well, there's some things they want us to work on. We need to put in a couple walls and some other things. So there's still a few things we need to work on.
But you could get that done in short order.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what I think. And like I say, I've done this a lot, and I trained as a forensic psychologist, looking psychology and the law and the forensics involved with human behavior and conduct. And based on the timeline and the factors here, it's very clear to me, based on the facts, that neither one of you did anything to hurt your daughter.
No, sir.
No, sir.
That's very clear to me. Awesome. So are you understand that I understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that initially the first thing they do is look at if it's the husband that goes missing or gets killed, they look at the spouse. If it's the wife that goes missing, they look at the husband. Yeah. Because statistically, oftentimes that's who it is. Again, because of access.
Right.
Opportunity, motive, means, all of that, they look at the spouse. And so when something happens to a child, parents are the ones in control of the child, so that's the first place they look.
Yes, sir.
And when I first studied this case, the first thing I looked at was, okay, what would be the opportunity for the father and the mother? And I looked at that not knowing y'all at all, just to look at it. And given the timeline, there's no way that either one of y'all did harm to your daughter and, I hate to even say these words, killed your daughter and hid her body in the woods somewhere. I just don't believe that's even possible. So understand, I'm not sitting here wondering if you killed your daughter. Awesome. I'm not sitting here wondering if you killed your daughter.
Thank you.
I don't think that for a second. And I'm saying that publicly here. So if people are wondering what I think, that's what I think. I don't think you did that. I don't think you did that. And I assume I'm correct about that.
Yes.
You didn't do anything to hurt your daughter?
No, sir.
You didn't do anything to hurt your daughter? Did he do anything to hurt your daughter?
No, sir.
Did she do anything to hurt your daughter? Okay. And, you know, the reason that I can conclude that is based on the timeline is you couldn't have done that and hidden the body somewhere that couldn't have been found by now. Cadaver dogs, hunting dogs, search parties, all of that. You couldn't have gotten far enough away before authorities and search parties and everybody got in there. The question that I'm then left with is, do you know something about it that you haven't shared? When you guys sat down with Scott and Greg, Scott asked you about the cornbread mafia. You got very upset. Why did that upset you so much? Would you consider yourself bossy?
You don't do things right the first time. I can be, yes.
A nag?
When you walk over recyclables, a huge box, 7 days in a row. I love sex. I'm like a guy. I want to have sex.
And your sex life's not great. Each time we go to a break, she's coaching you on what you need to say.
Right. Surely I'm not alone. Can you just interact with me so that I don't feel so alone and get upset?
Meet Jessica. She's been posting videos about losing custody of her 2 children to CPS.
When is it going to be enough?
Was your daughter injured in your care?
Yes.
And that's not all.
You say, I slapped him, he choked me, there was a knife involved, he threw a bowling ball through my windshield. What am I missing here? I've not heard you ask one time, what can I do to get my children back? Do you know something about it that you haven't shared? Something you may not even know you know. You may not, there may be something in your mind you don't even know you know, or you may know something that you haven't chosen to speculate about, or you haven't chosen to tell. And that's what I'm really focused on right now, because you're in the best position to know what could have happened. If you had to speculate, what do you think happened?
I have no idea what happened.
Well,
I don't.
You have to have some idea, because you took your daughter in the house and you never saw her come out.
Right.
Something happened.
I don't know what happened. She just was gone.
But she didn't just vaporize. Someone had to take her out of that house. And we know it wasn't you. We know you didn't do anything to her.
Right.
So if it wasn't you, then who was it? Let's rule you out. Okay, we've taken you off the chessboard. You're off the table. If it wasn't you, then who would be the next most likely candidate?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Would it be someone, a stranger? Would it be somebody you know?
I don't know anybody that would have did it. Then it had to be a stranger.
Is there anybody you knew that has disappeared since this happened?
No.
That, you know, they were around and then this happened and all of a sudden they kind of moved away, or they've gone away somewhere?
Nobody that I know of.
The only people that I know is the people I work with on a daily basis, and that's the only ones I've ever hung out with. I work all the time, and when I am home, I'm with my kids and her. And
is there anybody that you've had dealings with that are shady, that would do something revenge-wise just to get back at you, to hurt you, that you owe money or that you had illicit dealings with in some way? We know that You've had some conflict with the law concerning drugs and different things. Is there anybody that you've gotten sideways with?
I fired a lot of guys for being on meth. And the last guy I fired a day before, I'm pretty sure, I can't prove it, but he was way out there, and I fired him. And the very next day, my daughter disappeared. And the law, TBI's been talking to him, and he's got an alibi where he was.
Is there anybody that he's been involved with that you think might be trying to get even with y'all by taking your daughter?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is there anybody that might be trying to get even with you, that would try to hurt you by taking your daughter?
I can't think of anybody.
Nobody in the drug culture, nobody owed money, nobody...
Oh.
In our area, there's people that, you know, you got these boys, and then you got these boys that you know, they're very prideful about, you know, kind of like, I guess, LA, you got the Bloods and the Crips. Well, these are hillbillies. I don't know. But we don't associate with them. We don't socialize with them. We try to socialize with our church. We try to keep our kids in that church. That's our main goal. We try to stay completely far away from that kind of activity as possible.
Well, but you haven't always.
Right.
When you guys sat down with Scott and Greg, they asked you about organized crime in the area.
Right.
Because we know that there's trafficking that goes on.
Yeah.
People take children, and I hate to even say this because it's such a horrible thing to think about, but they take children and they sell them. They sell them into all different kinds of different lives, whether it's sex trade, slave trade, different things. That happens here in LA, it happens there. And they ask you about organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
When Scott asked you about the cornbread mafia, you got very upset when he asked you about that. Why did that upset you so much?
In her mind, feeling like she's being interrogated.
That's not interrogating you. We're trying to help you find your daughter. Scott asked you about the cornbread mafia. You got very upset when he asked you about that. Why did that upset you so much?
Because I don't even know what that is.
I'm sorry?
I've never even heard of it. I don't even know what it is.
Then why would it upset you so much?
Because it sounds horrible.
Just thinking, her in her mind, feeling like she's being interrogated bothers her because she loves her daughter with all her heart. She spent a lot of quality time with her every day, thank God. She took a lot of pictures.
Well, why don't you let her answer?
Okay, yes, sir.
Because that's not interrogating you. It's we're trying to help you find your daughter. I started this out by saying, I don't think you hurt your daughter. I'm standing up for you. I'm saying, I don't think you hurt your daughter. But I'm going to look under every rock. I'm going to go down every trail. I'm going to investigate everything. And if you want to find her, you would be right there beside me saying, right, Doc, let's turn this rock over. Let's ask this person. Let's consider this. It doesn't make sense to me that, I mean, you got up and left the interview when he asked you about that, and I didn't understand that. You want to find your daughter, obviously.
Yes.
And it puzzles me that you get so upset about that. And, you know, one theory is guilty knowledge, that you may know something you don't even know you know. You may be afraid of something that is so horrible you don't even want to think about it. And so you push it down and don't even want to think about it. But I want you to think about it. I want you to be willing to consider every possibility, because it's only when you think about the darkest possibilities that we can find answers. And the cornbread mafia, Scott, define that for us.
Sort of an organized crime syndicate in the South. It runs from Tennessee to Georgia. It's widespread. And some parts are thicker than others, but overall, it's there.
Yeah. And it's kind of a homegrown. This isn't out of New York or Miami or Chicago. This is a local syndicated mafia. There's a lot of meth trafficking in it. There's a lot of all sorts of things.
Yes, sir.
And there are a lot of meth labs in that area. And this is all organized. These aren't independent.
Correct.
It's even harder to penetrate because everybody knows everybody.
Right.
That's
And there is trafficking involved in that part of the country, like every other part of the country. And so one of the theories is that someone abducted her in that regard. And I don't know that. I'm just saying you have to consider that. Somebody took her for some reason.
That's been one of my theories because there's been a lot of people coming up to our house and just taking whatever at night. They come up, they knew where we were one day and they took all the tools out of my shed. And that's been one of my theories is someone local that's been watching us. And then the other theory is a more professional type mafia or whatever. I don't know, but that's always been one of my theories. But I never heard about no cornbread mafia.
That's the door to her room.
Yes.
If she came out that back door and there was somebody there, could they have grabbed her right there?
Yes.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Oriana claims that her mother would lock her in the attic for weeks. Did she lock you in the attic?
Yep. No, I locked her in a room. My mother is a liar.
That's Monday.
Okay, well, let me ask you, Candace, if I understand correctly what you've said. You took Summer in the front door.
Yes.
And you said to the three boys, keep an eye on Summer.
Yes.
Okay. Then you did what?
Then I went back outside to my mom's camper, which was right next to the house. And I had to fix her knee brace for her.
Okay. She had a knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
Only 2 minutes.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
I went back in the house.
When you went back in, what'd you see?
And the three boys sitting there watching TV.
Okay. And no Summer?
No Summer.
Okay, what'd you do then?
I asked the boys where she was at. And they told me that she went downstairs to play with her toys.
Okay. Would she do that? Would she say, hey, I'm going downstairs to play with my toys, or would she just go?
No, she'd tell the boys.
What'd you do then?
Well, I hollered for her at first.
And no response?
No response.
So what'd you do?
Slammed directly down there. I looked for her everywhere I could look, in the room, under the blankets, whatever. And she was gone.
Yeah. All right. What's the way to get out of there besides coming back upstairs?
It's just the basement door.
That back door?
Yeah.
Okay. And if that door opens, could the boys hear it?
No, if they had the TV up loud.
Okay. All right. Is she known to go out that back door?
She'll go out the back door, but then she'll circle around by her swing.
Okay. Back around to the front?
Yeah.
What we're seeing here is looking out that back door, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now, there's a road there. Is that a
driveway?
A driveway? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, can that be seen from your mother's camper?
No.
That's the back side of the house. You can't see that from her camper?
Not that part, no.
If you step out on the road there, you can about see your camper.
Uh-huh. And that drive there goes up to the highway?
It circles around the house. Right there, it goes to the top, and then it goes down around to it. It circles all the way around the house.
Okay. Is that the back door?
That's the back door.
That's the door to her room?
Yes.
Okay. If she came out that back door and there was somebody there, could they have grabbed her right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then how would they make their escape? Back this direction?
Well,
away from the camper?
The dogs led the scent went straight down that dog trail by that yellow generator, right from where that picture's taken.
You're saying then that this is the back door?
Yes, sir.
And you're saying that there was a scent that went this direction?
Yes, all the way down to Ben Hill Road.
All the way where?
All the way down to Ben Hill Road.
Okay. Now, if this looks like a big circle, how do you get back to the highway?
So you go down the driveway to Ben Hill Road and then turn left, and it takes you out to Beach Creek area.
Okay, so for someone to drive away, they would have had to come on around the circle and exit here?
That's a possibility, but we think they were parked down on the Ben Hill Road.
Okay, so you think they would have walked on down through the woods to the road?
Down, that was
and left the car down at the road?
Yes. And that's what the dogs indicated. The scent went down to the road, and then somewhere on that road, the scent disappeared.
But how would they have known she was going to be there? Would they have gone inside the room to get her?
Possibility. I wasn't even aware the trail was there.
Okay. So your belief is this might be the last spot that Summer was on the property?
Yes, sir.
Right there?
Yes.
That she was put in a vehicle there and driven away?
Yep.
I think you know more than you're telling. We need your help to find your daughter.
You show signs that you're hiding something.
We're in season 20, and we could not do it without you.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and would like to watch a live taping, go to drphil.com and click on Be Part of the Audience and select In Studio.
And if you would like to be in our virtual audience, select Attend Virtually.
All you need is a computer with a camera and high-speed internet. We'll see you soon.
Scott and Greg, you interviewed this family for hours. What is your theory? What's your summation about what happened?
Well, I'll start with you right up front. I don't think either one of them killed or injured Summer. We said that up front. I will say, I also don't think that Don, and I'll hand it to you in just a second, I don't think Don has any guilty knowledge of anything, based on all the time I've spent with him. And Candace, if you don't have guilty knowledge, if you know anything, this is your kid. You need to push this out, whatever you know, because you show signs that you're hiding something.
Well, I'm not hiding anything, though.
Well, the reason we think you're hiding something is because each time we've talked about the cornbread mafia, which you don't know about, that tears you up. You emotionally fall apart. We see signs of stress.
But I don't know anything.
Everything about your body language suggests, or it indicates to us, that you know a little more than you're telling us.
Candace, there are 2 or 3 really red flag things that make us want to know more. Not saying you did X or you did Y. There are lots of ways that things leak in your body language and your behavior, and that's what we're seeing.
Do you understand that we're saying we don't suspect you of doing something wrong?
Yes, I understand that.
It's important to me that you understand that.
Yes, I understand that.
You guys passed polygraphs. I've just the logistics of this thing. It just does not point to you. And if investigators pointing it to you, they're not doing the math. It just doesn't make sense. What I'm saying is, I think you know more than you're telling, and that may be more than you're consciously acknowledging. You may know things you don't know you know, or maybe it's too horrible to think about, but you've got to cut through that, because you do react to certain things that suggest at some level you know something more than you're giving a voice to. And it's hard for me to say you need to tell us what you don't know,
But if I knew, then I could tell you.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm telling you to say, tell me what you don't know. And you're saying, well, how can I tell you if I don't know? And I'm saying you've got to be willing to take your guards down and think through if there's anything that you're pushing out of consciousness, if there's anything that you're just not willing to acknowledge. We need your help to find your daughter. I guarantee you, when this is solved, and it's going to be solved, this isn't going to be a stranger. This is going to be somebody you know, somebody you've crossed paths with somewhere, somehow, in my opinion. It's just a matter of you're going to find it out when they're caught, or you're going to find it out because you go back through and do an inventory and figure out everything you can possibly figure out and lead us to who they are. And every day goes by, that trail gets colder and colder and colder. And if she was abducted and she's been trafficked somewhere, she can be found. I want to find that baby. I want to find that child and bring her back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say goodbye to Don and Candace, and then we're going to kind of summarize everything for you viewers in hopes that maybe something can be triggered in you, something you may have seen, something you may have known. We'll be right back. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, live strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else. Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today. We've dismissed Don and Candace. You had the opportunity to observe the interactions. Any thoughts?
We saw a lot of differences in Candace as her movements, her cues are very small because all she did was just dead-eye you the whole time. So our biggest focus was her respiration. And if you'll go back and look at some of this, as you start talking about the cornbread mafia, as you're easing up to that, we'll see your respiration increase. And again, like I was telling her, we'll see her adapters. Adapters are the things you use to get rid of that built-up stress or tension, anything that's a repetitive motion or action. And she was doing that here, very small. But then she started breathing heavily. That's what we saw mostly in her. The closer you got, the heavier she got breathing.
Now, she may have nothing to do with this child's disappearance whatsoever, nothing. But those red flag indicators and those kinds of things that say, why aren't you more forthcoming with information? Why don't you ask? Why don't you tell? Combined with, and you can see it very clearly on her as you watch the video, her jacket opening and closing because of how much respiration she has and a little bit of barriering or needing more space, just makes you feel uncomfortable.
I think there have been people around this home, workers with Don, people coming over to hang
for whatever
out,
purpose.
Yeah.
For
Party, whatever. I won't make allegations about what they were doing when they were there, but, and you know, they see somebody get obsessed and then come back on their own accord and take the child. It's happened, sadly, thousands of times.
I think they probably are aware of who's around them that is dangerous.
I think she has more knowledge than she's either acknowledging or sharing.
Yes.
Agreed.
One of the two.
We're on the same page.
And I believe that to the core of my soul. I want to thank Scott and Greg for their expertise today. I also thank Don and Candace for sharing their story with us. If you have any information on Summer's whereabouts, please call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND. We will have more information on drphil.com. We'll be following this story and praying for Summer's safe return. Don't forget to subscribe to the new season of my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. I'm launching a new mental health series on Fill in the Blanks where I'm looking at some of the most common personality disorders you encounter in your life. Narcissists, borderline personality types of people that drive you nuts in your life. I'm going to tell you how to spot them, how to recognize them, how to manage them, how not to antagonize them. This is a series you don't want to miss. It's down to the nitty-gritty, and it could definitely change your life. Remember to subscribe and download and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And don't forget to subscribe to Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret, with international best-selling author